Greetings everyone, here's Lodric again, and this is a game for the Pacific Admets Edition. This is my play-by-email match against KilRoy, the rematch on the new map, version 27. Yeah. This is still scenario 1 with no modifications, and I picking up East Java slowly with my already landed party forces. This is not really the attack army for Surabaya, but the first groups. My U-boat find here AKV, so these are this specialized cargo airplane transport ships. So you normally load here airplanes. So with a little luck, there are airplanes on board, or it's on the way back. But a torpedo hit will at least create a lot of damage, heavy damage, on fire. Maybe we sink, but maybe we stay in port for a long time in Suva. I-20 try to attack a submarine west of Hawaii, but unluckily you can see it's try to avoid, but then it's a must surface, and then it's in the surface engagement, and then we have a artillery battery here, and of course 15 hits. This submarine is a goner, and the destroyers can return to port and fix their small damage. This is of course always a risk if you operate submarines. I mean, allied sub-hunter equipment is simply much better, and the doctrines everywhere all over the map activity, but no real success for my submarines today. But I 10 pick up the already damaged AKV, and now I get a heavy torpedo inside, and this is maybe now enough to sink the ship. Yeah, so there is a sinking sound. My submarine is so far on, not dead, but it's nighttime, and these destroyers normally will pick up the fight maybe soon at daytime again. This is only landing on the British coastline. The base forces jumped out from the base, and I don't want to walk in the jungle, so I make a feverish assault here next to the base. Saves time. I-21 is also here. But no other Navy engagement, and it looks like that my submarine survived this so far, but I mean still must limp back for 1 month to port, and this is normally also not possible. And my scout airplane gets killed over Surabaya. So out of maybe Cebu, there's still an air base. KilRoy operate here, Navy search and recon, maybe. A sweep for Rangoon. There's still some buffaloes there, British buffaloes here in this case. But there are no match for zeros. This is long range, so I use drop tanks. Now bombardment in China. I think I lost the last turn, or shortly before the next Tojo airframe. Not that they are really so much better. They are of course an improvement over the Oscar 1C, but I would say it's only the next step, not a huge step. So bombardment of I think airfield, Rangoon, try to hit something on the ground, but I bomb out of safety 20,000, so I create not so many hits, but I create hits and I get experience more times. And the Dutch Air Force is also here, trying to slow down my tank units. Today they fail. And normally it's very... it's possible to also slow down tanks, of course. But a tank unit in move mode can normally make 1 hex per day on the main road easily. Reported light cruiser on AP, still in Java, but no airstrike. So then I will always don't take these messages for too seriously, because if there's a value target, then why there's no airstrike? Now I have here a port strike, because I saw also some ships in port, maybe damaged ships hiding here. And there are only 2 light cargo ships, okay, but they are now on fire, heavily damaged and almost seaworthy. And a little additional hits, so more heavy fires, heavy damage. I not really like too much to destroy ports and airfields if it's not really necessary. It costs at the end, Japan always supplies to fix it. And I play scenario 1 with no modification, so supplies is at least at the beginning of the war. Now always too less, and I don't think it's really getting much better later on. But if you want attack and repair so much at the same time, then you really run out of supplies so easily. So if you don't have a feeling for supplies or industry, R&D, play scenario 2. And maybe like Jochen, I think Jochen have also the scenario 2 now, so but he more or less give up the Kwantung army, but he takes scenario 2, so he have much easier R&D and industry and supply situation. And he give up the Kwantung army, so he's not so strong in China, but he did get anyway additional army forces, so at the end I think it's similar to scenario 1 with army forces. And you get much more air force, much more navy. So scenario 2 is for easy enter Japanese side in the war. Scenario 1 is in the highest level of playstyle. I mean, it's simply only every mistake you do will cost you dearly. I don't say that you must do it, but you can do it. Good, in Java the next town fall to Japanese Freedom Force units. Peace, order, justice, and no more free cheese. But maybe not so free sushi, but at least everyone get now a job. We have always jobs for people if you cooperate with the Japanese. Glory. So this is now Battle of Rangoon. I don't know what the second or third battle. And today the British cannot hold more longer. I'm not more sure if there was an Australian unit here before, or maybe it was dying already in the battles before. Now we had only British Brown troops, and so most of them are India units, some Rangoon, a lot of base forces. So KilRoy maybe try to defend Rangoon as long as possible, but it was simply not enough. And yeah, this is now the last must-have, I think, city for the Japanese before April 42. If you want really have a chance. Simply to make sure that there's no supplies going more anywhere to China in the long run. Good. This is a small victory. And here's next small victory against Filipinos and Americans. And I also catch up with this British air HQ and the base force, but they're still retreating, they don't want to give up. Yeah. And Battle of Tarakan. I know this is the first bombardment, the Allies bombard me. Okay. Small casualties on my side. This is now also the bombardment from the British forces on my just landed units, but maybe they have a low quality grenade and or they bombard their own forces. I don't know. They're British. Drinking too much old tea maybe, and then they lost sight of the right real target. Or they had opium. I mean, British and opiums are also famous. Too much opium, I mean. A little opium is always good. It's good for health. Let you sleep more smoothly. And here's a battle in China. This is now a Chinese attack on my forces. Even odds. No one can take each other. This is more or less lost zone, backyard, whatever. It's an area where no one cares. There is nothing. It's only Chinese forces are here and some Japanese bloc forces. Now it's my unit, so the A and C company of Division 48 attacking Tarakan. And this is enough to easily wipe away all Dutch forces. So Tarakan fall and Rangoon fall, two cities. I mean, Tarakan is not so important, but it's important to take it, or there will be always a submarine base with unlimited fuel for the Allies. So land with enough forces, I would say, don't, because there's these heavy battery units, use heavy cruisers, better battle cruisers or battleships to make some suppressing fire and try to lure the enemy fire on you. And then normally Tarakan is not a big deal. And make sure there's no mines or have minesweepers with you. And always have local minesweepers near your invasion fleet, so that you can sweep the port as soon as possible. Good. At the end, this was a straightforward success, with the loss of one submarine. But in this campaign, I really lose a lot. Well, at least much more submarines compared to the first game. So KilRoy, again, he is much more active in China. He tried. And he's also much more hunting for my submarines. So he tried. And is also more successful. Air losses. So there was nothing on this cargo ship. Because I hear the sinking sound, so I believe that this AKV go down. But not with airplanes on board. So maybe the shipping was already delivered. So it was empty going back to the west coast of United States. And so this is a good ship, let's say this. It's fast, have a lot of range, and it is specialized, so it's have value, like a tanker. And I lost here maybe one small cargo ship, okay. But nothing really too important. Or maybe airport, I don't know, air pilots lost one kill pilot again, okay. And you can now see this is the last of the months. The kill ratio of aircraft is roughly so far 4-1 in favor for Japan. And if you compare this to the Jochen game, you can maybe check how is the situation at the end of January 41 with Jochen. But again, of course, he plays scenario 2, he have much more to lose. And he have other opponent, so of course, but it's only maybe funny to compare this and see what is possible and what is not possible. But again, of course, you must normally play the same scenario to really compare something. No big change in China, still moving around, but I took the most important cities, I think. I took what is important to take, and this is normally Xi'an and maybe Yan'an too. And here's the center. This is a must-have. The rest is, of course, always good to have and to take, but Rangoon fall and damage. This is always the next question for the Japanese player. Yeah, you take the location, but what is the damage? And somehow the British are completely failing to blow up anything. So compared to Dutch, this force is not really handle well the retreat. So the British falling back to this hex, and there is Australian units here outside. Maybe they falling back already because KilRoy know he cannot hold longer. Or they just won't arrive and reinforce. I'm not so sure. I only know that here are mines, so both ports are full of mines and I must clean this before I can really operate here. And also a small detachment units is maybe coming here to block my supply line. Okay. This is all fine. This is all fine. Here's a new convoy coming. Ah yeah, this is my Western Java army. So I have two armies. This is my Singapore army more or less. The Singapore army is more or less for Batavia and West Java. And the Filipino army will go, or the Philippines army will go for East Java. So I split the task of taking Java in two separate units. But I still lacking here the reinforcements. So I have here a small army detachment to take first all of the east. And you can see also that I defeat the British. I don't know why it's now British, because it's normally Dutch. I defeat them, they're jumping back and then they take the hex, or I don't know, it's maybe flipping before. Somehow it's now British, but it's at the end Allies. So, but all of these units are normally trapped because there is no road connection, so I must kill these two units, and here is one more Dutch base force. And then all East Java is completed. And I hope my reinforcements will arrive. I don't know where they are now. I think I will unload or load the Tarakan 2 division units and support here. But I need a little more firepower, I think, to go for Sauerbaya. To take it easy. I can always run in with too little, but I think many players learn this. At the basically I would say you must try at least have double AV compared to the defender. That would be always, I think, the best minimum ratio. And you also need supplies. You cannot only look at AV, you must also check supplies. You must always have enough supplies, that your units are never undersupplied. Or they simply, so you can defend with undersupplied, but you cannot really attack with undersupplied. So supplies required and supplies are in the unit is important to know and to care. For one attack, it's maybe not so important, but if you must attack once or twice, 2-3 times, and you have a longer stalemate, you need supplies overall. You can throw more units in a hex. If you don't have the supplies, they're useless for attack. Good, the Manila campaign is completely finished, so I can now send really more forces. And also here, more or less only Cebu is left. And okay, here's also some bases are still left, but not more much. I don't push too much here in the South Pacific. I take it easy, put Moresby is secured, Rabu is secured, into Tulagi. but a new task force is preparing and going source. And yeah, I know there's a lot of shipping going to Suva, so maybe KilRoy try to create a big American outpost here on Suva. Marshall Islands are quiet so far. Good, and the last thing I can check is my poor submarine. What I always do is normally, you can check here every submarine if you want, but this costs a lot of time. But normally at the end of my turn, if I thought I did everything is correctly, I always make the fat check for Navy and Army, or normally, yeah, carrier-borne and land-borne aircraft. Fat check means normally only you check what is the maximum fatality or fatigue, and everything over 20 or close to 20, then I will maybe stand down or change something. This is the number one check. And then I also make the mission check to see if there's anything. Normally I train only with 100% or with 0, so means instant down. And if I see a 40, then I know it's a new Air Force unit just arrived, and then I can change it. Sometimes you have this always on 20, this is then if they're running from a carrier. Or some ships starting with 25, then I never touch them. I will do this maybe sooner or later. This is normally the most important, that you don't have operational losses too high. You can see here now, this unit is 20. I mean, 20 will not kill your pilots, but if you come to 30, I think you will have more and more accidents. So if you come already over 20, then I often say, okay, 22, stand down for one turn, and then they're falling back to 7 or 8, and then they terrain again for 1 week or something like this. This is normally what I do with aircraft, and the next stuff is with the ships. I always make it first check, where is my carriers? They are all in task force, or what they're doing. My battleships, where they are, okay, they're in Singapore. This is only to make a roughly check, and most important is normally for submarines. If I have submarines, where they are. I have 2 submarines ready in Rabaul, but they don't have enough fuel. Then I see, oh yeah, because somehow I miss to send enough fuel. The fuel is just coming. Okay, I must wait a little more for my submarines go out. And in this way I can also see easily, okay, where is my damaged submarines, and they are on the way back. So I have 1 submarine in Truk already waiting for repair. The other submarine is limping back, but can make 2 hexes. And this is the submarine just gets heavily beaten up. I-20 surface flotation 90. Crazy that it still have flotation, and system damage of 50. And the game is normally working this way, that the submarine try to reduce the flotation damage, but will consume normally over time system damage. So the system damage will go normally up. The flotation damage will keep stable or go slowly down. And at a certain point, the system damage is so high that the system of the ship or boat will malfunction, and then you have more flotation damage again, and then your ship will sink. So you can see how far away I am. This is nearly impossible to fall back. Very likely the ship will maybe be at Johnson Island and then have a malfunction. Or if you are Sippy, I mean, it doesn't matter really. The ship will not consume anything. So if the ship or U-boat will sink now here or 1 hex before my base, it's lost. There is no task force and no option to send a rescue ship out for a damaged submarine or anything. Submarines operate always alone. You cannot even transfer fuel from one submarine to the next submarine. This will sometimes bite you. Good, thank you all, see you next time, take care, bye bye.